Hey guys, and welcome to Let's Draw Akiba Blue from the Sentai series Akiba Rangers. Today I'm going to be actually just talking a little bit about the process and just tools normally that I use when I do my art. For this one, I wanted to try something a little bit different. Try something a little bit out of my comfort zone with a kind of a little bit more of a cartoony, big, blocky kind of tool. This is it's a Millipen tool from in Manga Studio 5 that kind of is like a marker. I think it's in the marker section. Yeah, it is, and it's really thick all around, and it doesn't have any of the what's it called? I don't know, like that thin snapping at the end of it. And I switch some settings here and there, give it a little bit more stability every so often because I need to make my lines nice and crisp, nice and concise. And I just changed around a few things and added a little bit more stability and changed some width and height, width and stuff of the marker or the tool or pen, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, it's a little bit more akin to the Chamba style of art, if you've ever seen that, like the udon style, like cartoony, uh, thick lines that are very cartoony. And yeah, right now I'm just going through the lines. Gotta gotta make sure your line art is very nice and what's the word? Nice and sharp. Want to make sure there's plenty of detail in your line art, unless you don't want detail in your line art, unless you want to go with more cartoony style, or if you want to mix and match. I can't talk. Mix and match uh, like cartoony and realistic. You can go in and add like some dark shadows, like some solid black shadows every here and there if you need to. It adds a little more depth to the picture. Makes it seem like that's where the super dark areas are, and that will never change, and it gives an interesting like comic book style look. Now, this image, I didn't draw the entire character because it was just for what's it called? An icon or a profile image, if you will, for like just different sites. It's not supposed to be the best looking thing, but it's supposed to look good from far away. And I think I did that very well. The these black spots like they look like shines, but they're just black shadows here. I do that to make it so I don't have to go in and add more shadows or shading into those areas when I finally do shade it. And plus, I was gonna go for a different kind of like shading in this one. Oh yeah, here I was. And if you see me stop every now and again, and like my cursor stops moving or whatever, it's usually because I'm looking at a reference to her on. I'm just looking at a reference on Google Images to make sure that I'm getting all like the details right. Remember that, kids. Whenever you do any kind of like fan art or art from another character, make sure you uh, get a reference first. And here I'm going to go back and fix this because it looks more realistic than I wanted, and I need it to look more like a piece of metal, because she's a Sentai and she wears a Sentai's uniform with a helmet and all. It's all metal and it looks very fancy. And if you haven't seen Akiba Ranger, you probably should. It's very funny, but I guess it's only kind of the thing that people who like Sentai shows, like people like me who never grew up, or well, okay, not grew up. People like me who never stopped not liking the Power Rangers, stuff like that. Like just people who like big dumb monsters fighting big dumb robots with characters doing cool kung fu all over the place. And here I'm gonna go in. It's just a simple fill tool just to get the basic colors down. I selected everything around the character and inverted the selection to cause just to select the entire character, and then just put in a gray or like a dark tone underneath the line art as a base layer. And here I'm actually drawing on the base layer, and I notice that, and I go back and I fix it all. doing metal color is very difficult for me. I can never really get it down. Like just that simple like metallic gray is always very weird. And using this enclose and fill tool, it's essentially just a paint bucket where you can draw in a shape that you want, and it'll fill in all the way to the middle where you want it to. It's very handy, and you can also use it for many things like just general shapes and shading and stuff. I'm gonna take away the background here and make it transparent because I need it to be transparent, but I forget that and I add the freaking background later. I didn't mean to do that. Yeah, just going in and just getting rid of some pixels here and there. This is generally the point when I start shading, and I always usually keep everything in a folder. But this time I didn't, so my workflow was kind of all out of whack. But quick tip: if you ever need to draw something and it's like very complicated, and you need to draw something, you draw something very complicated that has a lot of stuff going on, or you want to just be organized, or for whatever reason, you can just hit like Control F, I think it is, Control Shift F. I'm not sure what it is in Photoshop or other programs, but it usually creates a folder, or you can just go up to the folder creation in whatever program you are. Like it should have like a little folder with a plus icon or something, and you can increase, you can make like folders, and you can put layers in them. Keeps it very concise, so you can just select the entire folder, and you can just control click the folder and it'll select the entire thing. Here I'm going in and doing shading with a pink on, I think, overlay. I later switched to a different color, and I tried some weird things up to the upper left, but it's not working out. I'm using that enclose and fill tool because I'm trying to go for a like a udon style, like Chamba-esque style shading, very chunky, like shaded areas here and there. But then I succumb to my baser instincts, and I go in and redraw things. I'm apparently not the Chamba. I don't know how to shade with tools like that. But I go in and I keep doing that. I keep working with this, or like red. I don't even know if it is. It's like a dark red. It looks weird when it's on that like metallic silver, but that's fine. And the colors might not be the same on your screen. That metallic silver might look like a weird kind of opaque white color, and due to different screens and color gamut and all that, it's not the same. Also, another quick tip: remember to always what's the word? Always calibrate your screens, because if you calibrate your screen, then your colors are gonna look nice, and everything's gonna look neat and fine. And I usually don't draw lips or add shading to lips, but this time I did. I don't know why. I think I get rid of it actually. Just going in, adding some more shading. I messed up there. Gotta we gotta make sure that everything doesn't have any gaps in between it, because one little pixel can mess up a huge portion of the image where everything looks nice, but then you have this tiny little itty bitty like pixel, and it just looks off, and your whole perspective of the image is just killed. It's never good, and I often used to have pixels in my art all the time back then, and I've gotten better with it. And you can probably hardly see what I'm doing right here, but I'm adding shading to this black, which just makes everything even more black, which already has black shading on it. But don't worry, I'm going to go back and add some lighting to it. Also, yeah, here I changed the shading color to something a little bit more blue to go along with the color scheme of the character, blues and silvers. And I actually messed up on these two little emblems on top of her helmet. One's a little bit bigger than the other, and it goes down a little bit more with a little bit more swoop. Yeah, I did another one of these of Akiba Yellow, who's another character from the show, and in that one I actually just drew one of the little emblems, copy, pasted it, flipped it, and just brought it over, but it looks fine. And here I'm just adding the big chunky I was gonna say shading, but lighting areas with an overlay layer. I think that's an overlay layer. Yes, it is. And yeah, just going back over with this multiply. Now back onto this overlay layer, where I just select the entire image so I don't get any pixels on the outside. I was looking at a reference, and now I'm back to figuring out what I'm doing here. Oh yeah, I'm just gonna grab the tool, erase some things, check where all the shading is. This portion of my time with shading and lighting, I get kind of nuts with it, mainly because it's this is the fun part. I already got the base lighting in. Now I'm just going in with a second form of lighting, which is mainly a shine layer. It says light there, but it's something else. Oh yeah, now I'm back onto the shine layer. Now I'm adding just the shiny bits to the image. Since she's all metal and glass and plastic and stuff like that on her helmet area, I gotta make it look shiny so that it looks like the actual thing I'm referencing from. And I'm gonna do a lot of weird things in here where it's just taking away areas and tweaking this and that. I'm always all over the place with shading. It's kind of not the best way to do things, but I've gotten used to it. Going in and adding some more shading, gotta fix that because that doesn't look good. Also, remember kids, whenever you're shading or adding lighting, make sure you zoom in incredibly, because if you don't, then you're just gonna, I don't know, it's just gonna not look as nice. You're gonna have weird chunky pixels here and there. You might have really badly drawn like portions of the image, and it's not gonna look nice. Now here I'm just adding the shine to like the black areas, which black does shine. Black areas do shine. People keep drawing black areas very dull on like clothing and skin and all that, and it's not like that. Like the actual color black is very shiny, depending on what kind of black it is. Like if it's like a metallic black, it's gonna be incredibly shiny. If it's like a matte black, it's not gonna be as shiny, but it's still gonna shine. And here I'm just erasing, and I'm using the airbrush tool with like a blur airbrush tool with some blur and like a soft eraser to erase around areas that I like. Just erase, put more paint down, erase, blur it some bit, and then figure out the shape that you want, erase some more, you know, blah blah blah. Just gotta make sure that everything looks as fancy as it possibly can. And this, I actually like how it turned out. It's a little bit different than my usual works, where I don't have this chunky shine all over the place, but like shine and shading. But it's pretty good. I also used like a blue to do the shading, and that worked out really well on like a multiply layer. I only ever use one color for shading. If you've ever seen any other speed paint videos or like any like drawing videos where people use like, where they'll put down a color for like pants, and then they'll copy the pants color, put it on a multiply layer, and then do the shading with that same color, but a little bit darker. That just, honestly, to me, that just takes way too much time, and it doesn't look as good. Plus, I'm not going for like a realistic style per se. I'm not going for like the exact shading. I'm going for what looks best for shading, and then for shading and stuff, I'm going for what looks best. But it's all up to you. If you want to use the same colors for shading or lighting, you can. If you want to use some weird, crazy, like, color lighting scheme, you can. Right now I'm just going and outlining it, and I don't remember what I'm doing here. I think oh yeah, I went back and I was looking at something else. I was looking at the reference, I think, to make sure I got everything right. Oh yeah, I just did an outline layer, then I copied that outline, put it underneath, and then used Gaussian blur on it to blur the image, to make it, or blur the outline, and then put it on an add glow layer, which just makes it really shiny and glowy, and to make sure it just has a little bit more of stuff on the outside. Here I just add like a tiny bit more lighting, see if it works. I think it does. I change it to like a yellow, I think. Here I'm just messing with the shading and lighting layers. If you ever wanna, if you're ever just curious and you want to experiment, just experiment with the lighting and shading layers. Lighting and shading layers, they do a whole lot for the image. They add like depth and feel for it. And here, that's what I'm doing. I'm messing with them, and it's almost done. Well then, I'm just gonna let you enjoy the rest of this, and good night.